Hello, thank you for joining me here today at Why the Book Wins, where I compare books with their movie adaptations. My name is Laura, and today I am continuing my discussion on Delicate Condition by Danielle Valentine, which is the basis for the new American horror story titled Delicate. And I do have two previous videos already about this. I have one video that is all about the book. I start out spoiler-free, but then as the video goes on, I get into the plot details and talk about spoilers. And then I have a second video where I compare episodes 1, 2, and 3 with the book. So for this one, I'm talking about episodes 4 and 5, and I'm just going to dive right in because I'm assuming if you're watching this one, you must have already seen the previous two videos. And if you haven't, you definitely should. I will link to them in the description. And so episode 4 begins with one of the vignettes I had talked about with the book, where we get these sections that are from like a past pregnancy where things were weird. And so it just all kind of ties together. But so this begins with a scene from the 1700s, I believe, where a queen has given birth and she doesn't want anyone coming in the room. But then her sister shows up being like, let me in. And so then she sees the queen who has given birth to what she says. The queen says she has birthed a monster. And then these two women show up who are wearing those black witch outfits, basically. And they take the baby, saying that like the queen agreed to give them her baby. And the sister is like, what? Like, I would never agree to give someone my baby. And then the witches curse her to be barren. And we do see a hand from the baby, and it is indeed not human. And with this part, I did want to say, as far as the book goes, in the book, so we have the same vignette with in the 1700s with the lady giving birth. But in the book, the lady says like that she gave birth to a monster, but we don't actually see the baby, whereas in the show that's a change because we see that the baby is not human. I'm not going to get into spoilers with the book like I said, but that scene makes me wonder how the show will go on and if it will be like the book in the end or not. So yeah, let me know your guesses down below if you've read the book, as far as what this scene might mean for the rest of the show. And we then cut to present day and we see Anna where we left off, where she's looking at the dead raccoon at the bottom of the pool. And then Dex comes home and she confronts him being like, hey, like I saw you with Sonia, like I know you're having an affair, like you're sneaking around. And he tells her like, no, like I'm not having an affair. It's just work related. I swear. She has a gallery here. Like that's all it is. And then she tells him about the movement in her stomach and how she wants to go back to a doctor because she thinks the baby is still alive. And then he tells her like, no, like Cora told us that this happens. And he uses like some medical term that happens and being like, it's not a real pregnancy, you just think it is. But then Anna is like, you weren't there when Cora told me that. Like she just told me that. You weren't even around. But then he's like, no, like I was there. You're just misremembering. Like she told both of us. And so Anna finds that kind of weird. But then, again, she's just saying that she wants to go to a doctor though. And so Dex finally placates her being like, okay, fine, we'll go see the doctor tomorrow. And then this episode, like it had a lot of funny moments, which I feel like this show, I mean, maybe there's been some like dark humor in previous episodes, but this one just seemed to have more of it because then after this, that dead raccoon, she takes it, wraps it in a blanket, and she brings it inside. And Nicolette, the house manager, is like, what do you have right there? And Anna is like, oh, it's an injured animal and I'm an animal lover, so I'm going to try to nurse it back to health. And Nicolette is just like you're crazy, basically, like that animal is dead. But then Anna snaps at her being like, go home to your own baby, Nicolette, basically, because at this point, Anna doesn't know for sure if her baby is alive or not. And so, yeah, then she takes this dead raccoon that has maggots in it and she puts it in the bassinet, which is down in the basement. And then another funny scene too. So, okay, the two witches at the beginning in the 1700s, we see them again, and now they are in present day. Both of them are named Ashley, and they are like PR agents. And Siobhan has hired them to help Anna's image because at the Gotham Awards, which is a real thing. In my last video, I said that I didn't think those were real, but I should have fact checked before I said that because they are real. Gotham just makes me think of Batman, so I was like, that can't be real. Anyway, they are a real awards show. But yeah, when she was accepting her Gotham Award, she had thrown up when she was accepting the award. And so Siobhan is like, we need to turn your image around because there are all of these other awards coming up and we want you to get nominated. And you're not if your image isn't good. And so she hires the Ashleys, who are the witches from the 1700s, because they have been known to like improve someone's image and turn someone's career around. And so they're like, we're going to make a video that's going to go viral and you're like going to take your power back. And Anna Anna says, like, because they say it's going to be like some kind of feminist video. And Anna is like, I mean, that sounds kind of cringe. But they just convince her that like she needs to do something to improve her career. So eventually she says yes. And we see this video. It's like a 2-minute video clip that they put on YouTube. And it was pretty cringy. And I think it was supposed to. So that too just was pretty funny. And I guess it works because then they're talking about how different celebrities are sharing it and liking it and how it has like millions of views. So the Ashleys do indeed help her improve her career. And yeah, this wasn't in the book at all. There are no Ashleys. And again, Siobhan is an actress in the book. She is not Anna's PR agent or whatever kind of agent, publicist, I guess. But yeah, in the book, like Anna at a certain point, like we never see her at any awards shows in the book because she's just so focused on her pregnancy and all the weird things. And so that is her like tunnel vision is just her pregnancy and her body and the weird things going on. So yeah, in the book, we don't see her at any awards show and her career gets put on the back burner, whereas that is not the case for the show, especially as we get into season 5, there's some big changes there, or I mean episode 5. But anyway, back to episode 4, which I'm talking about. But yeah, with something else that isn't in the book is we see that Siobhan is having sex with the director of the movie that made Anna like super popular and famous. And it's called The Auteur. And so she calls it transactional sex. So clearly there's no emotion involved on her part, like not at all. Whereas the director is like, what? Like, I love you. Just like, how can you love her when she clearly like is like, she doesn't hide the fact that she's not into him. Like in this episode in particular, Siobhan is definitely just kind of more firm, I guess, with everybody she deals with. But yeah, she, in this interaction where we see that they have a thing going on, she says something to him that implies that he got the script for the auteur in some weird way that involved Siobhan, but we don't know what it was. So it was definitely like a cliffhanger moment between them and in relation to the movie. And yeah, that was not in the book. Siobhan isn't even in much of the book. She's a key character, but she isn't in as much of the book as she is in the movie.
Also, maybe it's just because I'm getting used to her, but I kind of feel like Kim Kardashian's acting is getting better as the show goes on, because I was liking her more in these latest 2 episodes.
And then someone else who isn't in the book is Dex's mom. So we meet his mom in this episode, and clearly she does not like Anna, and Anna doesn't seem to particularly like having her around either. But then she's talking to Dex, and she tells him that she is suing Dex's father, who is her ex-husband, and they have been divorced for a number of years now, but she says how recently she was in therapy, and it brought back memories that had been previously blocked, like she had blocked them from memory, but now therapy is bringing them up again, and she is realizing that Dex's husband did what she called satanic abuse, and so she wants to take him to court over it. And she wants Dex to testify, at least be a character witness, if nothing else. But Dex is like, this is crazy, like, I'm not doing that, like, you should just drop the case. But she's like, I can't drop the case, I know I've gone too far, and I need to do this. But something that did happen in the book, so I talked about Anna wanting to go back to the doctor because she felt movement, and in both book and movie, she goes back to the doctor, and he sees that there is a heartbeat, and she is still pregnant. And the way it's explained in both book and movie is that she had vanishing twin syndrome, where you're pregnant with twins and one miscarries, but the other stays. But this doesn't really satisfy Anna as an explanation, because she's like, you didn't say I was pregnant with twins though. So how are you now saying that it must have been twins when before you never saw 2 heartbeats? But the doctor is just kind of like, oh, it's hard to tell if you have twins or not early on. So it must have been twins and we just didn't catch it. And we definitely see in these 2 episodes, Dr. Hill, like he's always been kind of weird, but we see something that's talked about in the book is how like the lack of information there is in regards to pregnancy. And in episode 5, there's a part where Anna's having pain and the Dr. Hill is just like, well, didn't anyone tell you that pregnancy isn't a walk in the park? Like everybody knows that. And how he's just very dismissive, and how the medical industry and men can be that way in regards to pregnancy and like women's pain, essentially, and just have lack of answers, right? And then we get another scene with Nicolette, the house manager, where she finds out that Anna is pregnant and she gets super excited, and Anna's kind of like, thrown off with Nicolette's energy. And Nicolette is just like, oh, I'm sorry, I just get so excited when I hear someone's pregnant, and it just feels like we're part of a sisterhood. And this like really seems to bother Anna. Like she just kind of seems uncomfortable in this whole scene. And then this episode ends with Anna going down into the basement to check on her raccoon, which is still in the bassinet. And she is listening to the Golden Globe nominations, and she hears that she has been nominated for a Golden Globe, which is of course huge. And while hearing this, she picks up the raccoon and then she bites into it and starts eating it. And not gonna lie, this part kind of made me feel sick. It was also kind of funny though, too, in a dark way. And this did not happen in the book. In the book, she like salivates over the raccoon, but then nothing happens with it. However, in the book from there, she ends up eating the neighbor's cat. But then the next day, she wakes up and she sees the cat is alive and well. So she's like, that was like an intense hallucination. Because I could have sworn that happened, but clearly it didn't. Whereas in the movie, it seems like it's not a hallucination and she really does eat it. And then on to episode 5. So once again, we start out with a pregnancy from the past. And this time it is, in the book, I don't know if we hear her first name in the movie, but in the book, Preacher, her first name is like Io Preacher. So we see her pregnancy in the movie and it starts out and she has Dr. Hill and she is pregnant and they ask where the father is. And she's just, clearly she's lying, but she's like, oh, he's stuck in traffic. And then from there, they wheel her in where she gives birth. And then the baby is given away to the 2 witches again. And this is different because in the book, Preacher was pregnant in her like early 20s or something in the 80s, but it was a surrogacy because she needed money. And so she agreed to be a surrogate. And then during this pregnancy, like weird things were happening that were very strange. And then in the end, obviously she gave the baby away because it wasn't hers to begin with. Whereas this one is different because Miss Preacher, when she was younger, she was like an up and comer in the fashion industry. And then she had a one-night stand, which led to this pregnancy. And then she agreed to like give someone the baby, which is what we see happen. And yeah, we see more with Dex's mom in this episode. So again, she's trying to convince Dex to testify for her, but he won't. And then after her first like court appearance, she leaves the courthouse and like weird things are happening. And then Preacher shows up and she's like, I need to talk to you. And this is when Preacher tells her about, the one-night stand, which led to the, pregnancy and how she gave the baby up and all the weird things and all the, like when she tries to tell people about it, they're just blow her off as like some weird conspiracy theorist. But this is why she hangs out at Dr. Hill's clinic because he had been her doctor and she was like, something is weird with him. And in the book, I'm pretty sure Preacher also did have Dr. Hill. That does sound right. Like I know Dr. Hill was connected to past pregnancies and I think she was around for Preachers, but I'm not entirely positive. But yeah, in the book, Anna meets with Preacher and Anna is the one who hears the story. And maybe she's still, there's still time for Anna to meet with her. But yeah, in the show, they have Dex's mom be the one who meets with Preacher. And she tells Dex's mom, like, hey, like this group, they're after your son and your daughter-in-law, like they're in danger. And she's like, why are they after Dex? And she's like, because one of theirs defected when she fell in love with him. And that was Adelaide, who is Dex's former wife. In the show, Adelaide has died. So apparently she had been a member of this coven, but then she fell in love with Dex and chose to leave them. And I'm assuming they killed her. And so that is why they are now out for Anna, because she is Dex's new wife. And that was not in the book. Adelaide did not die. They simply divorced. And I don't think Adelaide was at all involved in anything. She was just his ex-wife and that was that. But speaking of Adelaide, so I mentioned Sonia and how Anna had been suspicious, thinking that he was sleeping with her. And she looks like it's the same actress who plays Sonia as played Adelaide. But Sonia, like she has different hair and, her style is very different. But Anna decides to invite Sonia over for dinner and just kind of, bury the hatchet and whatever. And so they have dinner with her and she shows Sonia the picture with Adelaide. And Sonia is even like, wow, like she looks exactly like me. But she claims to know nothing about anything. And she also gives Anna a gift for the baby, but Anna doesn't open it. Nicolette sees Sonia and she like clearly knows her and doesn't like her. But then Anna confronts her about it and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Nicolette opens the gift Sonia had gave Anna, and she opens the gift like when Anna's in a different room. And Anna walks in and she's like, you opened my gift. And it's a stuffed toy owl, which I mentioned owls in the previous episode. And so with this, I don't know if the owl was from Sonia or did Nicolette replace Sonia's gift with the owl? Because at this point, I definitely think Nicolette is involved in some way. So I wonder if owls are a key thing, if she swapped gifts so that Anna would now have this owl. But yeah, there's no Sonia in the book. There's no Nicolette in the book. There were no owls in the book. So a lot of this stuff is exclusive to the show. And speaking of exclusive to the show, another thing that is not in the book is we go back and we see Siobhan with this director and they're eating dinner and she's on her phone and he's like, hey, like I'm trying to have dinner with you. But clearly she's like, oh, like I'm here because, it's all a transactional thing, right? She is getting something out of it. That is the only reason she spends time with him, whereas he, for some reason, is in love with her. Anyway, he confronts her though, and he's like, hey, like, what's up with that script? You show me this script and like it sucks, like it should not have been successful. And yet suddenly it's getting all this award buzz. And you made me cast Anna in it. And now she's like becoming a star. So what's the deal? And from there we cut away, so we don't hear her explanation or anything, but it definitely has piqued my interest. Like, you know, I mean, clearly Siobhan is connected to the Ashleys, and so clearly she's part of this all. So I guess it shouldn't pique my interest that much, because clearly they just do their spells and make people successful and make things happen. And I guess that's basically the reason. But anyway, but yeah, that wasn't the case in the book. And speaking of awards, so in the episode where there's the Gotham Award, she runs into this 20-year-old actress named Babette. She is like Anna's competitor because they're in the same category. And obviously she's, you know, over 10 years younger. So she's the younger competitor. And then in this episode, she sees Babette in Siobhan's office. And so she goes up to Siobhan and she's like, what is she doing here? Like, she's my competition. And Siobhan is like, hey, like, we don't have a non-compete. I can have whatever clients I want. And she's one of my clients. So just chill. And Anna is very upset, but Siobhan, she's just like, hey, I'm representing both of you, but, you know, calm down about it. And then, yeah, at this stage in Anna's pregnancy, she is told that she cannot travel, and they are in New York. The Golden Globes are in California. So then she is not able to go to the Golden Globes. But when she watches the awards show, which she watches the awards show in the basement with two of those like Summer's Day dolls that she's been finding. So she has her two dolls and she's watching the awards show, and Babette wins the category because Anna could have won just because she's not there, but being there in person definitely would have helped. So yeah, Babette wins, and Anna is of course very upset. And then Siobhan calls her, and Siobhan is like, hey, do you want an Oscar? And she's like, yes. And she's like, do you want an Oscar as much as you want a baby? And Anna says yes. And then Siobhan is like, okay. And then she hangs up. And then it seems like Anna is like knocked out or something. And then when she wakes up the next day, Dex shows her the news that Babette has died in a car crash. And then Siobhan is calling Anna, and that is how the episode ends. And so that's crazy because, like I said in the book, her career was on the back burner, and that like is not a big part of the story because her pregnancy is the focus of a lot of the book. And there is no line where she's asked, like, do you want an Oscar as much as you want a baby? Like Siobhan in the book, she asks her, like, would you be willing to do anything for a baby? And Anna's like, yes, like I would do anything to have a baby. Whereas here, like, she's willing to do anything to both have a baby and have an Oscar. So they're definitely incorporating her career more into the story. And I'm liking it. I find it interesting. So that's not like a complaint of mine. It's just a difference that I'm fine with either way, ultimately. But backtracking a bit, because I jumped ahead to the end of the episode. So earlier, like I said, she was feeling that pain, and Dr. Hill is like, oh, like Cora, that woman in my office, she has become like a pelvic floor specialist. So, you know, I'll set up an appointment for the two of you. And so when she drives into the city, Anna is taken to her own condo that she has with Dex. And she's like, wait, what? Like, we're not meeting at the clinic? And they're like, no, like they told us to meet here. And so Cora is there in the condo and she's doing like a pelvic massage, but Anna is getting very uncomfortable with it because it's very invasive. And when she says to stop, Cora won't until Anna like gets up. And then later she's telling Dex about it. And Dex, again, he's just not taking her seriously. And he's laughing, being like, you're being ridiculous. Like, she's a therapist, a massage therapist, whatever. She's just doing her job. And Anna is just like, just admit it. Just admit that you think I'm crazy and you don't believe anything. You don't believe the stalker. You don't believe, you know, the nurse in the ultrasound. Like, just admit you don't believe anything. And he's like, yes, fine. I don't believe you. And so there's a part though where Anna, she's like, you know what? Maybe I am crazy, but you know what? Like, I like it better this way or something. And I like that line because not because she's admitting she's crazy as in she hasn't experienced these things, because she has, but crazy as in like she's just tired of defending herself, right? Tired of trying to convince Dex and everyone else that what she's saying is true, and tired of like being accused of like a hysterical woman and being emotional and being overdramatic and being crazy. And so now instead of like trying to defend herself and to show that she's a calm, stable person, and so she's just kind of like, screw it. Like, I'm not going to try to be this calm, collected person in order to get people to believe me, because people aren't believing me, even though what I'm saying is true. So I did think that was a great moment in the show. And to share some final thoughts, so I have been enjoying this season. I have never seen any other season of American Horror Story, so I have nothing to compare it with. I know people say it's not as good as past episodes or past seasons, but I have nothing to compare it with. So I've been really enjoying it, and I feel like the episodes just fly by, and it has definitely had one got me interested, and it's going to be months until part 2 comes out. I don't even know when. I just know it's next year. So I'm very curious, and I will be very anxious to see how things play out. And I think I might actually reread the book before part 2 comes out. That way it will be fresh in my mind for my upcoming Book First Show videos. Thank you to all of the new subscribers I've had recently. Like Delicate Condition, these videos have been doing really well, and so it's definitely given me an influx of subscribers and views, and so thank you so much. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And I do have a lot of like upcoming Book First movie episodes I'm really excited about, a lot of new releases, such as the Priscilla Presley movie and Bike Riders, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, a Color Purple video. There's a lot of adaptations that are coming out in the next couple months. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my content, enjoy my book versus movie content. And if you have not subscribed, you definitely should. I would appreciate it very much. And definitely like this video and comment your thoughts down below. And if you've read the book, let me know how you are liking the show so far. And if you think the show will stay true to how the book ends, which I'm not even going to talk about the book ending in this video. If you're curious how the book ends, I do touch on it in my previous 2 videos if you want to watch those. So far, they've definitely made a lot of changes, specifically with Anna's career, and then Siobhan, and yeah, specifically with her career, I guess, and Siobhan being her publicist. So that stuff has been the biggest changes, I would say. And then Dex's mom too, which I forgot to mention. I am curious who Dex's dad is, because I feel like it's going to be some shocking reveal, being like, whoa, like that's his dad? So, because I think the dad must be related to like what's going on with the Ashleys and the Coven, which means Dex must be connected to it all to some extent as well. But then maybe not, because if Adelaide was associated and then she left when she fell in love with Dex, then that would mean Dex isn't involved, but his dad still could be. So yeah, a lot of interesting things going on, and I'm curious to see where the season goes. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will link to my previous Book First Show video in case you haven't seen that yet. You can go ahead and watch that. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.